chosen one. Are you ready, Marinette?
Hello and welcome to our weekly film show with me and France 24's film critic Lisa Nesselson. And we're starting with a French phenomenon which has become an international sensation. After 5 series, Miraculous, one of the world's most watched animated series, broadcast in 150 countries, has been made into a movie. Our guest today is Jérémy ZAG, who not only directed Ladybug and Cat Noir, he wrote, produced and composed the music for it. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you. Now, congratulations on the success of this series and this idea. When the film premiered in Paris, the young audience went totally crazy for it. This all started back in 2015 with the TV series. You wanted to make a French Marvel with a superheroine set in Paris. Why?
Because I grew up in France, where I used to read a lot of manga from anime from Japan, and I love the superhero coming from America. But most of the time when you read manga from Japan, they have a lot of girl powers, but most of the time they are a little too sexy. Mm-hmm. So when you go to the American superhero version, they are very man's driven, very full of muscle, very strong, coming from the military or whatever. But there is nothing in between these two worlds. And I really wanted to create a superhero girl, a shiro, I call it a shiro, and very iconic. But this time she has a power coming from her heart, the courage. But when she transforms like the Japanese manga, you know, with the music and all of those type of rendezvous, she looks like an American superhero, and she's in Paris.
Okay. Well, Lisa, you've seen it. Both of my children watched it last night in preview, so they're very excited. And what did you make of the film? Tell us about it.
Well, Marionnette and Adrien are high school students in Paris, and thanks to ancient gemstones, the miraculous of the title, Marionnette can become the masked superhero known as Ladybug, and Adrien can turn into the masked superhero Cat Noir. It's their job to save the world, as you saw there, whenever they get a signal that the world needs saving, usually because somebody got really angry and another magic stone magnified their anger to terrifying dimensions. So Ladybug and Cat Noir gradually begin to fall in love, but neither character suspects, not even a little bit, who is really hidden behind the mask. Will they ever figure out the secret identities that we, as viewers, even if we're 5 years old, already know? And will they figure it out before the world, or at least Paris, is destroyed?
And do you think, and we see these beautiful images of Paris all the way through the series, all the way through the film, do you think the beauty of Paris has played a part in the success?
Yes, I'm a big lover of Paris, and I grew up. I grew up in Paris, and I spent the last 10 years in America. And when I look at Paris from there, I really think that Paris is a part of the magical miracle of Miraculous. There is a love story, 2 very iconic heroes, and of course there is Paris. Because Paris, there is mystery, there is love, there is action, there is everything you want to play with. It's full of soul, you know?
Okay, and one thing that's very different in the film is the music, the songs, the characters sing. Why did you want to do that?
Because the same way I love the anime meets the superhero, I used to watch every Christmas or every summer a Disney movie. Mm-hmm. And I thought that having superheroes singing with a love story at the center would have been never seen before. And we've made the try. I've composed the songs. I made it listen to the team, and everybody fell in love with it, including our partners. And we decided to just
go with it.
The journey. Voilà.
As you said, young people just love these characters, but isn't trying to keep the world in balance and saving it from evil too big a job for teenagers? So does it take a girl and a boy to equal one Spider-Man or one Superman?
This is why there is a very important message in the middle of the movie, which is stronger together. They have to be stronger together, and they have to face their fear for love, which means that Marionnette is afraid of everything, but when she has to protect the people she loves, suddenly she forgets all her fears and she just go for it.
And Jérémy, more than a cartoon, Miraculous has become a social phenomenon. There are costumes, dolls, stuffed animals, video games, a musical, and even a cruise on the River Seine. This is actually the start of a trilogy, so there'll be 2 other films. What about a live action movie?
We are in development in a live action content. Right now it's a series, but we take the time to make it right because we don't want to jeopardize the franchise, and we want to be sure that if we make it right, because we've seen what happened with a lot of adaptations lastly, and I'm a big lover of a lot of movies that I grew up with, and when I look at it in adaptation, I was not very happy with it, and I just don't want to do it, because even if the biggest one didn't make it the right way, we have to be very careful and protect the brand. Adapt the trend to our brand and not the brand to the trend.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Jérémy. Well, thank you so much, Lisa, for telling us about that. We're going to leave you with a glimpse of some of France's best comic talents. Thank you to today's guest, Jérémy ZAG, whose film
Thank you so much for
Ladybug
having me.
and Cat Noir is in French cinemas now. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. See you next time.